So one thing that really brought this out was, looking at this, if you were to look at this and say, okay, what's the one thing that's really missing? Whenever you're doing something like this, I think that the eyes are so important, and we don't always think about it. But when we look at something like this, if his eyes are black like this, they're going to be, it's going to completely miss the opportunity to have that kind of life and that connection with people. So, sorry, I'm just going to drag this bottom image down. I'll just hit Control J on the bottom image. And I'm going to bring him all the way up to the top. Or not. Let me bring him all the way up to here. There we go. Okay, so how do we bring out his eyes and not make it look creepy? Another thing that I see a lot when people do this is, they just they put something in there that distracts you from the overall image. So one of the things is just making the eyes a little too perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and apply that layer mask, and then I'm going to go up to Filter, Camera Raw Filter. And this is a great tool, for those of you guys that use RAW. I love the fact that you can just go in and use the settings now. So you just boost up the clarity, the vibrance, saturation. I've just done this so many millions of times. The only thing that we're looking at here are the eyes. Don't worry about all the other stuff. So exposure, going way up with it. Contrast, you can just kind of do whatever looks right to you. I don't even know what I'm doing. Okay, so let's just see. Okay, whites. Okay, so I'm just adjusting this based on looking at the eyes. Okay, so let's zoom in. I'm just hitting Control plus and minus. Okay, that looks pretty good. We can do more clarity if we want to. Really get in there. And contrast, see if that helps us which way. Okay, I like that. So I'll click OK. And of course, that's, looks insane. So let's just click a layer mask, and I'm going to paint on the eyes with, I'm going to go up to the brushes, and I'm just going to get a regular round brush, and I'm just going to paint black onto his eyes. And I'm going to paint black because we're going to invert this in a second. So Control plus. Let's select the eyes. Let's just make them black. You know what? Honestly, I like to do most of my brushes. I like to have them completely soft. So you turn the hardness to 0. And I like to put my flow at least below 50. Okay, so here we go. And if you don't know, flow and opacity are basically the same thing. Flow just actually works like a brush. So if you keep clicking on it, it becomes more and more and more. Whereas opacity it doesn't add up every time you click on it. So I really like flow. I almost never use opacity. So let's select the eye. I'm basically just drawing black into the eyes. Here we go. Looks very creepy. Looks like a shark man or something. Okay, so I'm going to hit Control I. And there we go. That's pretty creepy. Okay, well, we got to remember that this is also above the adjustment layers, but I'm going to really quickly just draw black under here and over here so that we only really are selecting the eye. And I am going to put this underneath the adjustment layers. So now, check out the difference. See? Now we're kind of connecting with them, and I'm going to bring down the opacity to about 80 so it doesn't stick out. So you see that's the key, folks, that you don't want to have things that stick out and that you notice. You don't really notice the eyes there, but if I put it, put it up here, it started looking a little bit creepy. But anyway, okay, there we go. What's next? Now, one of the next things that I did was to add this little crackle element to the guy's face. So I'm going to open up, I just went over to this guy, and this is a giant image. I just right-clicked and did copy image and then brought it in on top. And this seems a little too, I think maybe, I don't know what's going on, but he just seems a little too saturated. So I'm going to bring down the saturation a little more. Click on that.